Hi, I'm Stacey Lopez from ConstructConnect, and I'm joined by Cheryl Gray, Executive Vice President at QuadReal Property Group. Cheryl, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So you took part in the Property Management Executive Roundtable this morning.
That's right.
And you discussed a lot of the struggles surrounding competing demands. So what I wanted to ask you firstly was what struggles do you find are most common when property management teams are trying to achieve operational success?
Well, I think the biggest challenge, and it's common to the industry for years, is that it's always changing. Whether it's been an impact through things like 9/11, or impacting our security space, or whether it's been around sustainability. What's interesting today, and we talked about at the Executive Roundtable, is with reference to technology. It's completely disrupting not only how we're doing business, but how we're running our buildings, and more importantly, how we're engaging with our tenants. And I think for property managers to figure out how to do all the bread and butter stuff, keep the building looked after, do the budgets, manage your service providers, that it's complicated now by all of the disruption that's going on about embracing technology, and it's happening more quickly than we might have found previous changes happening in the industry. So I think the biggest challenge for our teams, while we try to remain focused on the job at hand and provide great customer service, the way we're delivering that service and the way we're managing the assets today, I think will continue to be a real challenge for our operating teams going forward. And how do I, as an executive, help support them, enable them to achieve that operational excellence? So I think that that's a really big difference for us in the industry.
So you talked about technological advances and how that impacts the process, definitely. Can you elaborate a little bit on that and talk about how technology, such as smart technology, how that is impacting strategies around management?
Right. Well, I think it comes from all aspects. It's not just about smart buildings. As again, we talked about this morning, cybersecurity. When you think about what we do in properties today, most of it is computer enabled. So a lot of our teams have implemented building automation systems, security systems, CCTV, but as we're seeing in a world that's more and more connected, how do we protect ourselves in our buildings from cyber attacks? Ransomware is becoming very common, and while I don't think anyone has been specifically targeted in real estate, the more easier it is for someone to come into our systems, then the more at risk we are. Technology is also disrupting because we're finding that a lot of the things that we want to do are relying on what we call software as a service. So how we manage environmental, how we manage building drawings, and all of these types of technologies are evolving, and they're evolving quickly. One of the things that I was really impressed by that resonated was it's no longer about the big eating the small, it's about the fast eating the slow. And so being able to come to market with valuable technology that's viable not only for our staff to implement, but our tenants see value in, is something that smart buildings, whatever that ends up being defined as, is really starting to gain traction in the industry, but I don't think we really understand it yet. So we're spending a lot of time in our firm looking at opportunities and how we're going to leverage technology, but doing it in meaningful ways.
And what would you say are some best practices when it comes to maintaining a successful relationship between service companies, building owners, tenants, financial teams?
Well, I think each one of those, that's a pretty broad spectrum of relationships, and while there's a common thread, meaning it's customer service oriented no matter who you're engaging with, the way you engage and the needs you have from each of those are unique. Specifically when it comes to service providers, one of the things that I think we could do a better job at is really engaging them on helping them understand what our objectives are, why we say certain things in our business, whether we're focused on customer service or operational excellence, whatever term you use. I think the main part of it is that we need to engage them at the table and make sure that what they understand is an executive level, but also what they understand in the people that they put in our buildings. When it comes to basically our finance teams and anyone else within the company, we really try to encourage that we are internal customers. So there has to be a level of respect and engagement. And I think the challenge that we sometimes have is we tend to be a little bit dismissive of, oh well, that's only accounting, and they need to do what I want. But we really do encourage our teams to work together and see ourselves as internal customers of each other. The final part, engaging with tenants, it's really important, and each asset class can be a little bit different. Residential, certainly, when you've got a business to consumer relationship versus, say, an office tenant where it's business to business, there's differences, and I think staff need to be equipped to handle situations a little bit differently. So certainly a focus on it. Our firm has, a customer experience team that's dedicated to helping our teams perform in that area. I think that's not dissimilar to many other firms like ours, but it certainly is fundamental to understand what the benefits of each of those relationships are, and the nuances of sometimes you've got to treat one a little different than another because of the nature of the relationship.
Some very valuable information. Thank you so much, Cheryl, for sharing your intel with us, and be sure to look at this video and much more from Construct Canada online.